she felt best that perhaps we would move in different directions. We agreed with that.
What we don't get a chance to talk a lot about are senior bureaucrats and the machinery of government. Major shakeup there last week.
Yeah, that's right. Last week, the Premier moved around 12 deputy and associate deputy ministers. And it's notable because, to your point, they are the people who behind the scenes make government work. They are the cogs in the wheel that are turning, irrespective of what's going on politically. No bigger change last week than the Deputy Minister of Health, Denise Perrett, out after just a little more than 2 years on the job, replaced on an interim basis by Dr. Tom Mari, the former Dean of Medicine at Dalhousie University. It was her decision to leave?
It was we mutually agreed, and we just both mutually agreed that it required a different skill set.
The Premier tried to gloss over the fact that this was moving in a new direction, or that the Deputy Minister was moving on. But let's face it, in practical terms, she was terminated, which will mean that Nova Scotians will have to pick up the tab.
He framed it as a resetting of the relationship between the Health Department and the Nova Scotia Health Authority at a time when that body is also looking for a new leader. But there are also political calculations here, because the government is taking it on all sides from healthcare, whether it's patients, frontline workers, and most notably right now, doctors with whom they're in contract talks, some of whom have been pulling back services out of concerns about pay rates and work volume. This is also translating into their political reality in the form of polling, and we saw recently, for the first time since forming government, the Liberals are running in second place in public opinion polls behind the Tories, and there's no way that's not sitting on the minds of at least some people within this government.
The other interesting change from last week is health-related too, and it has to do with the much delayed, expensive, overly expensive, I guess at this point, one patient, one record system. That single issue will now have an associate deputy minister in charge.
It's almost a buck stops here scenario where one person is responsible for overseeing this work, and that is her job. And that may be an acknowledgement on the government's part that work has simply taken too long.
Right, and what this does, though, this particular shuffle does, is push out another shuffle that the Premier had been planning to make, and that is at the cabinet level. He's now saying it won't happen till after the fall sitting. So this will be an interesting time for Nova Scotians to be able to judge whether or not the problem is at the bureaucratic level, or whether the problem stems from the instructions coming from the Premier's office, Cabinet, the Minister, to the bureaucracy to make the new health authority, the new structure, work properly and do what it was originally meant to do.